welcome to T Boys TV. We're back again with another Hat Show, obviously episode 302. And in this one, we will talk about the game on Saturday, which thankfully we won. And then obviously we'll be getting into, the transfer stuff that happened last night. Obviously it's officially shut now and we'll get our thoughts on it. Obviously I did do a video on it last night when everything come out officially. So do check that out if you haven't already. Big up to everyone that has as well. And yeah, obviously we get more of your basis on it as well, Dad, and things like that. But before we do all of that, how have you been the last few days?
Yeah, not too bad, mate. Apart from this shitty cold weather, it's all right.
Yeah. It's like earlier, right? I went out to just quickly take the bins out like you do. I didn't realise it's flipping raining.
Yeah.
Yeah, didn't realise it's flipping raining, to be quite honest here. So literally, I went out there in sliders and socks. So as soon as I went out there, I'm like flipping hell, right, I'm coming back straight in pretty much as soon as I've done this. But yeah, no, big up to everyone that's been inside waiting as well. Do smash a like if you haven't already. But yeah, we'll start off with obviously the Blackpool game. We'll save the best till last because I guess most people want to see what we've got to say, mainly obviously you, Dad, on that. But yeah, the Blackpool game itself, I mean, going into it, it was sort of them feelings because of Tuesday night, like it'd be nice to win, but it doesn't mean as much as it could have meant if we won on Tuesday, I would say. And yeah, it was a must win, really. I mean, in terms of Blackpool's away form, and you saw even the way they approached the game, it was very, like they were happy for a point, and I was saying that a lot while I was there. But in terms of lineup, so we had Keeley in goal, Longwick, Anderson, Mengi, and Johnson. Obviously, I did say, and I mentioned it on the vlog, I did say I'd drop Anderson for the game, but do you know what? I actually thought he was all right, like he has been for most of the season. Airily doing what he usually does in terms of winning the headers. And then it seemed like Palmer was in his own role, especially in the first half, which he done really well in for me. Morris started this game. Obviously, a few people did say that. I still think he's good as an impact player, and for me, you saw why in this game. Bramall started, which is obviously good. Kadoa and Clark centrally, and then Wells up front. And then as for the bench, obviously, it did come out 5 minutes before the game. Surprisingly, I actually had decent signal in Luton for once. But yeah, it actually come out 5 minutes before the game that we signed Cole. So I was thinking on that basis, but before the lineup come out, shall I say, I was thinking on that basis, there's a possibility he'll be in the squad. Now, obviously, I was saying on Friday, I reckon he will be in the squad. Unfortunately, he wasn't. I mean, we probably could have done with him in the game, because I've got to be honest, I don't think Wells had the best of games again. If I'm going to be totally honest, I feel he was struggling again. But yeah, we had El Hamady on the bench. Jones was back on the bench. Lawrence, Naismith, Richard, Saville, and Shea. So, I mean, not a bad bench. When you look at it, obviously there was no Liam Walsh. Obviously, there was a few people saying he could potentially be leaving, but obviously he hasn't. He will be still here, which I think is good. I feel he is good at the home games. I feel he does definitely need to improve away from home. But, it's good that we have managed to keep him. But I just hope we can play him higher now, a bit higher, like we have with, Clark, and things like that, because now we've got, a player that can naturally play in a more CDM role. Obviously, we've still got Saville as well, despite Lamine leaving, there is options there. So let's see what happens. But yeah, I mean, that lineup itself, it was very attacking as it should have been, Dad, going into this game.
Yeah, strong bench as well. Good to see Morris start. Keeping the back four. It's quite consistent, really. It's just midfield where we have been lacking at times. You need more fight in the midfield, and we've made a couple of signings, so we'll see if they're capable of that. But yeah, no, decent lineup, decent bench. Kadura in the middle, he done all right there. But yeah,
I'll tell you what, as soon as he moved to the left, he was really, really good for me. I mean, there were so many times in that second half where, because obviously I was quite close to that left-hand side, obviously being in the new standard, you know what it's like there. And, there were so many times Johnson was on the ball and we were saying, like, people around me, myself, like, just try and give it to him. Because every time, like, he was calling for it and every time he was getting on it, he was making things happen. I mean, there was a moment he played the ball, like, across the ground for a cross. And it's very unlucky. Shame no one was there. But, yeah, I mean, in terms of the first half, I said it on the vlog, I just don't feel we were on the front foot enough. I mean, you could clearly tell they were happy for the point. I mean, yes, we had a few chances, but overall I felt we could have done a bit more. And we did in the second half. It's one of them where we obviously the crowd was up in the second half, because they knew the players were going for it, which we had to do. We made some changes. Obviously, Bramall had to come off. Obviously, that's a shame. I mean, the challenge itself, I've got to be honest, at the time I was very 50-50 on it. Because it looked like it was one of them where he got the ball and the player. Looking back at it, his studs were up. So, he should have, for me at least, he should have got a yellow card. I mean, looking back at it, the referee was really, really poor. I mean, for both teams, for me. I mean, there were so many times, right? It was ridiculous. The more I think about it now, their players would just jump to the ground, and I'm literally there. I could see it direct. They'd just go down like a sack of shit, and he would just give them a free kick. Bowler done it a few times. I mean, he didn't do nothing this time, thankfully. Last time he got an assist, he didn't do anything this time. But yeah, just the way they were going down, man, it was just so frustrating. Like, it was obvious, it was obvious wherever it was on the pitch. It was obvious they were just going down a bit too easy, and you could tell they were happy for the point. I've got to be honest, and yeah, it was a shame to see Bramall come off. Obviously, there was a moment he was down, and they sort of like touched his like leg just whereabouts where it was, and he was messed up basically. So that is a shame. But I guess we have got the players there. Obviously, it's not the players we would have wanted there, like mainly with all due respect, Lawrence and things like that. But we can put Kadoa there, and I feel he was really good there. And again, he was good on that left hand side last time against Blackpool. But yeah, I mean, when you saw the challenge initially, what did you make of it, Dud?
Well, obviously he got the ball, but I could see his studs were well up, and that's the key thing. It doesn't matter whether you get the ball. If your studs are up like that, then you should at least have got a yellow card. They got away with that, and I mean, nothing's come out, but I think that's he's going to be out for a few weeks, I reckon, which is obviously a shame. But yeah, for me, now we've got more dynamic midfielders, and that then Kadoa will probably be playing in that position more, or Johnson potentially. If maybe we put Naismith at left back, we'll see. Yeah, I was gutted, and hopefully it's not too long, but it did look like a pretty bad one and getting stretched off as well, so you can't even walk on it. It's that bad. But he's feeling it's that bad, but yeah, it probably is some kind of quite serious injury, but yeah. And not to even get anything for it is just ridiculous. Plus, just before that, Mengi was down with like a head injury, accidental, whatever. But he played on for a bit. Do you know what I mean? And then obviously their penalty shout, 50-50 on it. I think when he felt the contact, there was contact. He exaggerated the movement, and I think that's what put the referee off. To be honest,
If you look after that,
he might have got something, because it was a clumsy challenge, but it was also a clumsy challenge on Clark when he had a shot, and I don't know if he was aware of it, but similar, right after he took the shot or whatever, clattered into him. So without VAR in these leagues, referees are kind of allowed to get away with more than they would normally, and that's where VAR has affected negatively in these leagues, because I do think the standard of refereeing was probably better all round anyway, but lower down without VAR, because it's sort of
it was always their initial reaction, weren't it?
They know there's going to be no comeback kind of thing. Do you know what I mean? Whereas before they're proper switching on because they had to, because that getting the better games and move up the ladder, etc. But now it's like, you know what I mean? I don't know. It just seems to be a bit lack. A lot of referees seem to be like that. But generally in the lower leagues they are terrible. Further down you go, generally the worse they are. I remember from the conference days. But back then, you expect hard tackles and things like that. They do let you get away with it, and that's fine. But some of the, we played York in the playoff final, or I think it's the final, and they flagged. I think they flagged our player offside, or their player, no, onside, and he was well offside, and you saw the still of it. You know what I mean? The linesman directly looking at him is ridiculous. But yeah, anyway, unfortunately, that's what that stuff happens. But I'm sure it does get reviewed, things like that. But and then the scuffle at the end, crazy.
Yeah, well, two things I'll say on the penalty, right? It was difficult for me to see initially at the time because the other side of where I am. But looking back at it, you know, if you look at when he's gone down the player, right, they've had a shot after that. If you look at his initial reaction, he's not calling for anything. You know, he's not. He's literally looking directly at where the ball's going. And also the fact, even if you think it is a penalty, well, you know, look at the Lincoln game. You know, we had a clear goal robbed off us, the third goal. So I look at it and I feel, well, you know, it's sort of, you know, them things come back and either benefit you or don't. But overall, I don't think it was. I don't think it was a penalty, to be honest. Yes, it is a bit clumsy, like you say. But ultimately, I just think the way he's reacted after, you know, he's not tried to call for it. He's not tried to do this and that. And even the way they were playing in the game. And I totally get it. You know, I totally get the way they're playing, right? They're 21st on away form. They have to fight for points. You know what it's like when you play teams down there. I totally get that. But what was frustrating me is the way they were jumping round onto the ground and the ref was just giving it. Like they weren't fouls off of them. They really were not
That's
fouls.
another reason why they do it. It's not just them, other teams.
Yeah, loads of teams have done
know that they're going to get away with it because of the standard of officiating and the fourth officials. They're fucking they're terrible.
Oh yeah,
even worse.
Yeah, I mean, even think of the recent linesmen we've had in games. I mean, you only have to go to the Stevenage game, you know, where their goalkeeper's not even on the line, and he's literally for penalties they have to go closer.
A few handballs as well.
Yeah, how's he not noticed that? You know, it's just crazy. So, yeah, we deserved to win anyway. Like I say, we weren't amazing, but we deserved to win that game. You know, we definitely did. And I think what really helped is that spell we had in the second half. You know, the crowd was up for it. Obviously, you heard the roar when we scored. And they were messing around at the back during the game. And I said, we need to capitalise on this eventually. And we did. You know, they gifted us it. But Clark, you know, player who's not going to miss. And fair play to Johnson. I thought he was really, really good in this game. I mean, he's improving game by game for me. Like, he's been good anyway since he's come in, but there's been a few moments defensively, like extra away and that. But the last, I think, 3 games defensively, he's been pretty good. You know, going forward, he's always been good since he's been back for me. But, you know, it's really showing that now. And his cross led to the goal, you know, and the way he was linking up was really, really good. And obviously, if you did see the vlog, you see him going absolutely mental on the goal, which is great to see. And he thoroughly deserved it. And I mean, yeah, we did deserve that win. You know, we definitely deserved that win. And, you know, I'll be honest, especially with how they, you know, were in the first half. Like, I just felt we didn't do enough, you know, and we did in the second half. We stepped up and we got the win last night, which we deserved. So that was good to see. And it was also good to see El Hamdi obviously come on at home. Obviously, like for like change for Wells. There was a moment there, I want to say this is number 4. Yeah, number 4, Casey. He really annoyed El Hamadi. I mean, there was a moment he definitely fouled. Like, he was all over him. He was all over his shirt. I could see it right in front of me, you know. And the ref weren't giving nothing. So obviously El Hamadi's got annoyed because then I think he'd done a challenge on this case. He'd done a challenge on him, and he got like frustrated and he ran straight up at him. I was just thinking
that happened on various occasions. And
yeah, all over him. But there was one specific moment where he ran at him. And I'm thinking, just don't take him out. Just please don't take him out. I get you're frustrated, but you could see his face, like he was pissed. And I can totally understand it. You know, it was ridiculous, to be honest. Like, literally, you can see it wherever it was on the pitch. I mean, it was just ridiculous. And then obviously Jones come on for Morris. Initially, he was on the right side, like a right midfielder. Then he did move to the left. Obviously, he has been there against Northampton. So we have seen him play there. And then I was so glad what we brung Saville and Naismith on for. Obviously, more so Saville, because Naismith always goes in defence. But, like, that is what Saville's there to do. He's there to mop up and just see the game out. And that's what happened. You know, obviously, he should be starting more games. We both can agree on that. But, you know, this game, that is what he's there to do. You know, if he's there to do that, then he'll be fine for us this season. I've got no problem. You know, even if he rotates with this new signing that's come in, I don't mind that. But it was good to see him come on. And there's so many moments where obviously they're warming up and he's watching. And there's a moment like where he's like basically in front of us, and there's just a moment that's happening. He's proper staring at it on the pitch. So yeah, and I did say I said to Jamie at the time, we need to bring him on. Just to see this game out. Not that they were doing an awful lot. Obviously, they had the chance during the penalty shouts, and they had a shot. I think it was before where it went wide, but ultimately they didn't really do too much. If I'm going to be honest, they actually reminded me in a way of us away. In terms of like they'll have half chances, but ultimately not enough. And they conceded basically similar, obviously different finish, but to how we conceded on Tuesday night. A defender passing it to a player basically, and then from there on in. So, yeah, it was one of them. But yeah, we'll go through some comments, then we'll get into the player ratings. Paul says, "Good evening, lads. Good to see you in here. Hope you're well." Jackie says, "Hi, Ty and Daz. Hello, Jackie. Hope you're well." Big up to Steve. He says, "Evening, lads. You too, mate. Hope you're well." Eugene says, "Yep, obviously you play Bradford." Yeah, we'll get into that game on Friday. We'll preview that game there and see what is to come of that. See who's actually going to be available. See if any of the new signings will be and things like that. So we'll see with that. But yeah, in terms of the player ratings for this game, Keeley in goal. I'll tell you what, right? Obviously being there, I could see how vocal he was, and he was very, very vocal. Got another clean sheet, which he deserved. I can't really think of them having too many shots at him directly. If I'm going to be honest, there might have been a few moments where he's got the ball and stuff, and their fans were doing that. Your favourite chant, Dad, to him at times. But yeah, ultimately, fair play to him. Another clean sheet. He is improving throughout the season. So I'll just give him a 6.5.
Yeah, 6.5. Like I say, didn't have a lot to do, and just looks more and more steady, doesn't he? More and more confident.
Exactly. He's not doing them stuff where he's coming out and you're like worried.
Yeah. So, let's hope we can. He's our number one again next season. Probably will be. Because I don't see us going up. But yeah, he'll have a lot of experience by then as well. So yeah, 6.5.
Yeah, let me tell you guys something about obviously Jackie. Finally saw Jackie, which was good to see. And also, we didn't realise until we were in the concourse that she's actually a few seats behind me and Jamie. So that was pretty good. So we see Jackie during the game and stuff. But yeah, it's Keeley 7. Yeah, 7 or 6.5 for me. Harry says, yeah, no worries, mate. No worries. Yep, we're all good, mate. Hope you're well. 7.5 says Paul. Moving on we'll go over to Longwick. See, it's difficult one of him because when I'm always rating him at the moment, I don't want to be harsh on him himself. It's not really natural to him. But I mean, the thing is with him, right? He does a few good ground passes, and then there's a few that are very off. And it was another one of them type of ones for me. So I'll probably just give him a 6.5 as well.
I thought he was slightly better. Now I'll give him a 7. I think you notice it more because he plays so many passes. You know what I mean? And he's looking, but generally, he's a very good passer of the ball, and he's looking because he's playing more in that sort of role. I think he's looking more than he would maybe if he's playing in centre back. But I think he's still solid. But the question's out against better teams still, isn't it? But don't forget, when Plymouth went up, he was. Playing right back as well at times, I think. Or was it left back?
I know at Huddersfield he played left back and centre back.
Yeah. But he was at Plymouth as well, wasn't he? So, but anyway, I thought it was all right, and he's filling in better than other players have done. I mean, Makoso.
Then our natural right back has. To be honest,
it's a bit iffy. Do you know what I mean? So, and we've got Hakeem to come back. Obviously, Jones. Apparently, that's his favourite position. So you could potentially be seeing him there now, especially that Walters is gone, because we can put Morris on the right, we can put Kadua on the right. Probably Lawrence maybe. So we'll see. But yeah, I'll give him a 7.
Yeah, fair enough. Jackie's gone with the same as well. Moving on to who should we go over to next? Go to Anderson. Like I say, I said in the game I would have dropped him just based on his last 2 games. But like I say, he was really good in the game. He's back to like what we have seen him be like when he's done well this season, which has been large parts of the season. it's just the odd games he'll do something that's just like, what are you doing? But I mean, doing that sort of job he had to do in that game, he done well. So I'll give him a 7.5 actually.
Yeah, I will as well. Great, disciplined. You could argue that some of it's down to the fact that Walsh didn't start. Because I know quite a few
He's
times,
always trying to pick it out to Walsh, isn't he? Yeah.
Walsh, where they hit and miss. Do you know what I mean? He just gets to them, things like that. Whereas Palmer in front of him, I think it helped him and it made it, so it's interesting. But we can't. It's come out that Walsh was just rested basically. Like he's played like 14 games in a row, etc., etc. And we can kind of afford to do that with the signing of Palmer. It was fantastic in this game. But yeah, I'll give Anderson a much more polished performance, 7.5.
Yeah. Paul's gone with the same. Jackie's gone with 7. Moving on to Mengi, I thought he was really good in this game as well. And this is why I said I would have started him, in the last few games, because I know he can bring out these type of performances. Like I say, for me, he's the best centre back of the club. When his mentality's there, he's especially at this level. I mean, he's way too good for it. And there was a moment where Blackpool started off really well in the second half. Well, I wouldn't say really well, but they just went on a break. And he'd done a really good slide tackle. Obviously, he's done that a lot throughout the season. He'd done it at Stockport away. There's obviously been a few other games he's done it as well. And yeah, I thought he was really good. And when he went down, I was thinking, remember that time I went to Fulham, Dad? And I was thinking, he always gets injured during the, period of like, a transfer window or it's weird. And I was thinking that initially at the time. I was like, oh my, the luck is just not good for him. But thankfully, he continued afterwards. And who knows? Maybe if he got injured, we probably would have got a centre back for me, especially the fact, obviously, Makoso's gone out on loan. So, yeah, thankfully he was all right. Like I say, I feel he was really good in the game, and that slide tackle was good again. And also when we scored as well, him and Johnson, like celebrated together. So that was good to see. So, yeah, Mengi for me, again, similar to Anderson, 7.5.
Yeah, 7.5. Great tackle, great energy. Listen, we thought if anyone was going to be snapped up, leave, it would have been him. Clearly not. So we've got him now till at least the summer, and he's cracking on. And like you say, he's definitely our strongest defender. Tackling ability wise, passing. He didn't look for too many long passes, but he can do it. But just he's enjoying his football again, and he's going to stay in that centre back position for me, and hopefully get a goal or two, because we know he can score. So yeah, 7.5.
Yeah, absolutely. 7.5 as well. Mengi 8, fair enough, Paul. And then moving on to Johnson, he is my man of the match, which is the first vote of any from us for him this season. Obviously, he's been out for a very long time anyway, as we know, but like I say, I just feel he's getting better game by game, played a full 90 minutes. His crosses were really good. His link up with Kadoa on the left-hand side was really good as well. And, like we said, he deserves to cement that place, and that was another top performance from him. So man of the match for me, I'm going to give him an 8.
I'll give him an 8. Very close for me. Like I say, establish himself. I like him. I think it's good. You can see that that pedigree. It's probably the closest thing that we've got since James Justin. Different kind of player, obviously, like it's cut inside and that, but he's got that football vision and that confidence to come forward and cut inside and things and get the cross in. And this is what we were hoping at the beginning of the season, which I always go on about. But yeah, he'll be with us. I think he'll sit with us for at least another. I don't know when his contract runs out, but we need to be trying to keep him still because he's definitely got potential. That. But yeah, 8 I'll give him.
Yeah, because I remember when we were talking and he signed that new contract, didn't he? I can't remember how long it was, but Yeah, I totally agree. And we said, didn't we, at the start of the season, with his ambitions and what he said, we want to see him play because we want to see if he can prove himself. And I'll tell you what, he certainly has, especially with the long period he's been out. So massive credit to him. So yeah, I totally agree. With that, Johnson 8 says Paul. Joe, he was great. 8 says Jackie. Yep, totally agree. And then moving on we'll go over to Palmer. I thought in the first half he was our best player by far. I mean, he was trying to get the ball any position. He was dropping deep. Sometimes it looked like he was like playing as a centre back, but he was good in this game. Like even when players were going at him, some of the control he was doing, he was immense, man. And for me, he's been good in every game. But like, I'd say in order, I'd probably say this was his best game. The Plymouth game was second for me, and then the Huddersfield. But they were all good games. But like they just, there's just things he was doing. Obviously, yes, there was the moment with the potential penalty, but overall, I don't feel it was, to be quite honest with you. And yeah, I feel he was good in the game. Could argue he's the other man of the match. Very close between him and Johnson, but not quite for me. So I'll give him a 7.5.
Yeah, 7.5. He come off. Obviously, had that free kick which he took. It was a sighter, really. Weren't a terrible free kick, but it was a sighter. But yeah, dribbling the ball.
That's where we needed Bramall.
Yeah, he can play anywhere across that midfield. He's confident and fair play to him. Never played at this level, and you can see why, because he's too good for it.
Yeah.
So he's already shut any doubters out about him. Obviously, we need other new signings now to do that as well. But yeah, really pleased, and I think he could probably play on the left as well. If we needed to.
Yeah.
But yeah, 7.5.
Yeah, he played as a left midfielder a few times for Hull, so he can play there. Yeah. Casey 8, very impressive so far, says Jackie. Yep, totally agree. I just hope he gets a goal, man, because he actually deserves it. Like, I know it's only been a few games, but like you even look at the Plymouth game, the first shot on target was from him. He done a really good run. And he obviously was very good against Huddersfield, getting involved. And that's the thing, he's always making himself known, like in terms of the game. Like he's getting.
Yeah, we tried that overhead kick as well.
I think he was actually, yeah. He was against Huddersfield. Yeah, he was actually, yeah. Palmer 8.5. Yep, fair enough. And then moving on to Morris, I'd say like I don't feel he was bad, but I just feel he's got that known ability for being a player that comes on and that known record. So yeah, I mean for him, I'll probably just give him a 6.5.
I've got so high 7. I thought had a shot, a bit weak, but
that was our first shot, I believe, wasn't it?
Link up play with Palmer and Kadua, and then got that cross in as well. I think he's done all right considering he's starting that. I'll give him a 7.
Yeah, I mean it's going to be interesting to see what we do because obviously there has been the comments like you say about Wilshere saying about Jones at right back. I mean he could be a good player to play there, and then like for Thingy if we're going to have Kadura on the left, But who knows? Let's see what happens. Morris 7 says Paul and Jackie. So yeah, there we go with that. And then moving on we'll go over to Kadura. He was obviously centrally. And then he moved out to the left. I feel as soon as he moved out to the left, he was much better. Like he's much better out wide for me, whether it's on the right or the middle. Like obviously he's had good games moving into the middle, but predominantly I think he's better out wide. And you sort of saw that when he moved to the left-hand side. So yeah, I mean his rating wouldn't have been the best for me until we moved to that left side. So I'll give him a 7.
Yeah, 7. I mean it's difficult because he is moving around at the moment in position wise. So. Yeah, I expect him now to be probably starting on the left. Bramall's injured, which will probably improve us. But the ball sticks to his feet as well. He's got that knack similar to what Morris has got, and Palmer seems to have as well. I think these are the sort of type of players that Wilshere's kind of looking for. Them very technical players with a bit of pace and strength. I'll give him a 7.
Yeah. Jackie's got me the same as well. Moving on to Clark, the goal scorer. I mean, really good again. Effective. Obviously got the winning goal. Stepping up again. And yeah, I mean, the saviour again, Jordan Clark. So I'll give him 7.5.
8, man, no match. Linking up, well, stand out, but solid captain as well. Until Naismith come on, got the goal. Difficult finish as well. Two defenders in front of him. Um, didn't panic. Other players would have panicked when it comes to them in the box. Linked up well with Johnson as well. Just driving the team. More mentally and that. Because don't forget they were very defensive and this, that, and the other. And obviously we were on him. Do you know what I mean? So man of the match for me. I'll give him an 8.
Yeah, and you could see like how much it meant to him when he scored. Because obviously Tuesday night is very deflated in his interview, so that was good to see as well. Fair play to him. Fair play to him, doing really well again. And again, it goes back to what I say. When he's played in that role, he's so much better. And now you've seen, Palmer can play well in that deep role. I knew he could anyway, but everyone else see it a bit more in the flesh now. So it's sort of like, that's an option there. Obviously, Saville, this new signing, even though we haven't ultimately seen any of him really, if we're going to be honest, other than highlights, but still, that is his main position. So there is the options there, despite obviously Lamine and Nakamba going, which was inevitable, especially Nakamba anyway. Jackie says, Jordan 8 man of the match. Fair enough. And Paul has gone with an 8 as well. Moving on to Bramall. Again, a bit of a difficult one because obviously he got injured. But yeah, he was trying to get on the ball a few times. But yeah, just a shame about the injury, really. And hopefully he's back, as soon as really, because, as much as we have been playing him higher on that left-hand side, obviously I know it's hard to drop Johnson, but, obviously he's another option there. And yeah, it's just not really what you want to see, especially if, how decent he's been throughout the season. He's been one of our better signings. So, yeah, speedy recovery for him. I'd just give him a 6.5.
Yeah, same. Exactly the same reasons.
Yeah, there you go with that. And then Wells, I just think he was struggling again, to be honest. And again, a large part of that is the one up front. But like even times like he's getting the ball, like he's touching it down, like his touch, I've got to be honest, it weren't great in this game. So many times it just wasn't great. And I think there was a moment actually. What was it? Yeah, it was in the first half where he's ran. He's done well to get through it, but then he sort of cut back and played it out wide when he could have like maybe took on a shot. So yeah, a little bit disappointing. And like I said in my reaction, it would have been great if we had Cole in the game for me, for this game, But unfortunately, we didn't. We should do on Saturday. But yeah, for me, I'll just give him a 6.
Yeah, 6. I mean, we got to look after him. I expect him now to be dropping to the bench in most games. The fact that Al Hamadi's back and we've got Cole, I expect one of them to be starting. Probably more likely to be Cole.
Yeah.
And yeah, rest him for a couple of games or play 2 up front because that would obviously benefit him more. But yeah, 6.
Well, like I said, going into it, obviously I went with Cole and Wells up front. I mean, that could work well because Wells has shown that he's good at creating. It's just
they're both quite experienced as well because Cole.
Yeah.
I mean, we've heard, we'll talk about it in a bit, but yeah.
Yeah, I mean, in terms of scoring, like I just don't have faith in Wells to do that. But in terms of helping other players, I mean, even with Yates, right, when he played 2 up front, which was rare, but like that game you said, Dad, in the trophy against Barnet, they were decent in that. So yeah, I just think Wells obviously been slightly better. So it's one of them where I think it would work with another one. Wells. Bramall, hope he's okay. 6.5. Yeah, exactly. I'll totally agree with that. Bramall 6.5 as well. And then Wells 6. Moving on to the substitutions. Obviously, Richards come on. Yeah, I thought he was all right. Again, similar to his last couple of games, you can tell he's still trying to get into the swing of things again. But in terms of like trying to, when we had that spell in the second half, crowd was on top of that. He was getting on the ball loads in that moment. So I'll just give him a 6.5.
I'll give him a 7. I thought he was pretty good when he come on. For a young player, such a good touch, confident. Linking up well. I think he had a shot blocked. Yeah, I think we'll see more of him as well think he'll come into the fray. I thought he was decent. 7.
Mm. Yeah, and even when I was saying, earlier about players on that right side, obviously, it's not his main position, but he has shown he can play there. I mean, the Stockport game, in terms of that right midfield, he was there. So he's another option as well, and things like that. 7 says Jackie for Richards. Moving on to El Hamadi, like I say, it's a bit of a difficult one for him because, he was definitely trying to get involved, but that player was just all over him, grabbing his shirt, left, right, and centre, and yeah, it's a bit of a frustrating game for him personally because he just weren't managing to get the ball because even when he tried to, even when they're coming down from up in the air, he's just getting held on, all over. So I did feel a bit sorry for him, but he was definitely trying to make things happen. And it was good to see him come on up front because the last time he played at home, he didn't come on up front. He come on the left, which I just don't think that's his game. He's just a striker. That's it for me. So yeah, for me, I will give him a 6.5.
Yeah, 6.5. But what I am seeing with him is, he was causing. He's quick. He can move around. You have to look for what position he's in. Whereas with Yates and Wells, they're quite predictable. But with this guy, that it's not, and he can move around and that. And he's only 23, and I think, yeah, possibility you could see him starting the next game. But yeah, working hard. It's only a matter of time, I think, before he gets on the end of something. I think he's quality. It's going to be like the next Morris and that bold thing to say, but we'll see about that. I'll give him 6.5.
Yeah, I mean, it's going to be interesting with him because there is that part of me that feels like, obviously, we've said, if we do believe the striker starts instead of Wells, it will be Cole. But then there is that part of me because of El Hamadi being in the squad longer. I've got that feeling we might do that. But me personally, I've got to be honest, I would go
I think he
two up front.
deserves it as well more.
Yeah, I mean, if you ask me now, like in terms of what I'd do on Saturday, giving it away now, but it's fine. Two up front, I would do again, and now I think we got to do it. And I would go with Wells and Cole to be fair, but I wouldn't mind if it was Wells and El Hamadi to be fair. But yeah, the only reason I don't go with him yet is obviously he's still getting into the swing of things in terms of like just coming back from that injury, and yeah, obviously Cole has been playing, all right, not for us, but he has been playing. He's got 6 goals in the team that have been poor throughout the season. So yeah, but it's all opinions. Let's see. Ali 6, yep, fair enough, fair enough. And then moving on to Jones. So, like I say, he played 2 positions when he come on. None of them were right back. But yeah, I thought he was all right in the game. He was trying to make things happen. Obviously, he hasn't played for a while, but yeah, I'll just give him a 6.5 really.
Yeah, same. And then the last two, although they've
Saville
done,
and Naismith, they just come on to short it up. I
I'll
mean,
just give him
Naismith
a
got a yellow
6.
card. I
But
can't even remember.
yeah.
Yeah, I'll just give him a 6.
Oh,
But
yeah, he bodied someone, but he had to like a little bit.
yeah, I can't even remember it. So usually, if I remember it, I'm quite annoyed with it. But yeah, no, I was happy with them coming on. I didn't mind that just to see out the game. I did say when we were 1-0 up, ideally I'd try like get another goal just to see it out, definitely. But in the end, we got the result. We got another clean sheet as well. Which we've got quite a lot this season. You wouldn't think that, but we actually do. So yeah, and I know obviously Keeley is up there in terms of the Golden Glove or whatever the flipping hell is called. So yeah, it's pretty mad to be honest. But yeah, good win. And now we go into that Bradford game, which I mean, I can't be honest, it is going to be a difficult game, but we are at home again, so it's an interesting one. Obviously, they did lose their last 3 up until the weekend. They did play the one of the early kickoffs. They did win 1-0 against Doncaster. I thought they'd win being at home, but they're away, and I mean, it's going to be an interesting game that. And if we do win that game, then maybe the conversation's back on. But overall, I just think there's certain areas we just didn't improve on, unfortunately. But yeah, good win in the end and much needed win, really. But yeah, in terms of the transfer news, so obviously, like I said, I did a video on it yesterday, so do check it out after this if you haven't already. But the first one we'll talk on, obviously, come out not yesterday, the day before, and that was Lamine leaves us officially. Now, mixed on this, like I said at the time, I'm still mixed on it the more I think about it because like we said that loads of times, we don't really know what we're trying to do with him. There's a lot of times we're playing him higher up, a lot of times we're playing him further back. Even though he is actually a CDM, I felt for us he had better games higher up. I mean, his debut against QPR wasn't the worst, given it his debut. Obviously, there was a few AIK fans saying they were surprised he was playing higher up. Obviously, a team he was at previously. He did have a few good, oh, bloody hell, I can't speak. Few good moments, but overall, do you know what I think it was mainly? I've got to be honest. The reason why we probably have got rid of him, thinking about it more, that Swindon game where Wilshere said he was very disappointed with him, and he didn't really kick on from there on in, did he? Really, ultimately, obviously got the goal against Northampton, which so he's part of obviously Wilshere's managerial career, getting a goal in that game, his first win as a manager. So there is things like that, but yeah, ultimately just didn't really cut it and didn't really know where we were trying to play him. Ultimately, did we, Dad?
No, listen, he's only had two clubs, us and Stockholm. He's young still. I think there is a good player there, but I think we're trying to look for players who are further ahead in their development than him. So, good luck to him. I think he still will do well. Um, you know, um, he's got potential, but if it's not working, he's not that type of player that we're looking for, etc., etc. And he wants to go, and that's fine.
Yeah, no, absolutely, and fair play to him. As a person as well. Obviously, he went and played Northampton. He said happy birthday to me. Obviously, and things like that. Got a good picture of him. And even yesterday, when I said like all the best on my Instagram, he actually liked it. He actually liked it straight away, pretty much. So fair play to him. Hope he does well wherever he goes. But yeah, ultimately, he probably didn't see enough of what another team will probably see in the future of him. Really, it's one of them for me. So yeah, moving on to the next player that left officially as well, and that is Nakamba. He joined Sheffield Wednesday. Now, obviously, the talks come out the other day of this possibly happening. Again, a similar one with Nakamba. Obviously, it's been very annoying in terms of the injuries, but the Premier League, going to the Premier League, that loan season, I mean, I'll never forget him for that. Obviously, he was a big part of that. Actually took a penalty as well in the playoff, final. Very good penalty, especially for a CDM. But yeah, since the injuries, it just ultimately didn't work out. We finally terminated the contract, which I said, should have happened a while ago. And again, it's nothing against him. I think he did definitely want to play football. But we just didn't want him in our plan. So it's just like annoying, knowing he's a higher wage earner and things like that. So let's see how he does at Sheffield Wednesday. Again, no really bad words to say about him, to be honest, in comparison to a lot of others. So, yeah, I mean, interesting. I'll be honest. I thought he'd move abroad, closer to home. But wish him well, and thank you for, being part of Luton history. So, yeah, what did you make of this one, Dad?
Yeah, same. Obviously, it's the wages in it, and we've got to cut that down. Especially as we're looking to we're in League One anyway, but we're looking to be in there for another season. We're not playing him. It makes sense. His best season was when we got promoted, I feel. And since then, he's not really.
The injuries haven't helped as well.
He's still young enough to have a couple good seasons. Obviously, he's probably going to be in League One anyway, but he might be a start for them. But I think he might. He'll do all right there, I think.
Yeah, I think he'll do all right. I think he'll do all right in games, especially with the way he does play. Like, he's good at picking out them passes and that. Sometimes, I mean, he wasn't in that cup game. I think that was probably his last game for us, wasn't it? Against Swindon, he come on, he was awful at that. But in terms of like the passes on the ground, I think he's good at. And yeah, like so, overall, I haven't really got bad words to say about him because, like I say, obviously part of our history. It's just the injuries after, and it was just like I knew we just didn't want to keep him. That was my frustrations. It weren't anything against him. It's just like why, like just. I'm glad it's done. I'm glad it's done now, to be honest. So that's how I see it. The other one, right, I'm going to be honest. I'm going to be a little bit honest about this one. I'm disappointed that it is a loan. There was obviously rumours coming out saying it could have been permanently when it initially come out. Obviously, originally, it looked like Barnsley was his destination, Jacob Brown. And then it turned out it was going to be Portsmouth. Now, it's quite ironic, right? Because a lot of our fans, let's be honest, right, we would want to get rid of him. Similar situation to Nakamba. Higher wage earner, ultimately not done enough in a Luton shirt. I'd argue Nakamba's done more, you know. But yeah, I mean, Portsmouth fans, they were frustrated because it's a loan, because they've loaned loads of players in the window. I don't think it's him necessarily that it's a loan, but yeah, I mean, it's one of them. Like, we've done so many loans, and I can understand the Yates loan. I totally get that because we got him in the summer. You can't just offload him like that. But like players like Brown, it's just like he ain't going to play for us again. For me personally, he's not going to play for us again. So I know he's going to be gone. And it's just like, yes, I'm glad he's gone for this part of the season because he's been rubbish for us ultimately. He's had a few good moments in the Prem, but that's it. That's it. For a player that gets them wages, ultimately not good enough. And it's just like, yeah, I just know he's going to be coming back. You get the feel, oh, he's back. But then he'll be gone again. So it's just like, yeah, I've got to be honest. I'm disappointed this one's not permanent, to be honest. Because he ain't cut it enough.
Well, yeah, he definitely hasn't. He scored 6 goals in 3 seasons, which is terrible. When people are having a go at Yates and Wells and that, they're already halfway there. Do you know what I mean? A couple of memorable moments, but never really cut it. And I remember when we signed him, Stoke weren't, that bothered about him going. I think there is a good player there, but I don't know. Maybe it's a bit of attitude, etc. He won't be back at Luton. Trust me.
No, he won't. I just know when he comes back. When they say when the players are back, you just get to see that, and it's like, well, we know he's not going to be properly, so just don't even bother with it, sort of thing. But yeah, I mean, I'm glad he's gone, and he ain't been in the last few squads, so it's inevitable, and finally it's happened now. So yeah, it's one of them really. So yeah, that's all the outgoings, obviously since. Now talking on signings, I like to say this was announced 5 minutes before kickoff. That we got Cohen, so there was that part of me thinking he could have been in the squad. Obviously, it wasn't to be. Obviously, we briefly touched on it in the last one anyway. I knew it was going to be him on that Friday night. That's why I put him in the lineup. They said he's having a medical and all that. I mean, I don't mind it. I know there's a lot of people skeptical about it, but 6 goals in a team that's in the position they're in, looking likely to go down, despite having a few good results, obviously, especially their last one in particular, winning away at Leyton Orient. I still think they're going down. There's a bit of a gap still. But, 6 goals in that side, obviously scored against us. We know we like to get players that score against us, sign them. I don't think it's a bad signing. I think it's better than any of the current strikers we've got in terms of the ones that are available. So I'm happy with it. And he's definitely got to be in the squad on Saturday for me, given that he's played football as well. So I was happy about this signing. Obviously, I'd rather Beasley, I've got to be honest, when we were linked with him. That's probably a large part of that's probably because I've seen him play as well. I haven't seen Cole play as much other than against us. But yeah, I mean, it's not the worst signing. At least he's playing in this league as well, and he's capable of doing it at a lesser team. He should be able to do it at us, who's got, let's be honest, better players. So yeah, that's my thoughts on it. But yeah, how did you feel, Dad, when it officially come out?
He's played at this level before. Barnsley done really well. Fleetwood, he's done all right. Motherwell, Scotland, he's scored a few goals in most places he's gone. He's 30, but it's not too bad. Now he's got a lot of experience, which we need. A lot more physical presence. There has been question, and then he went to West Brom, didn't really cut it there. But look at them; they're not doing well. Port Vale, for a team that's bottom of the league, that's not a bad turnaround. Scored against us. There's been questioning of his attitude and things like that. But at his last 2 clubs, West Brom, I'd say he's probably frustrated about not getting in the team more. So I was getting, pissed off about that. And then Port Vale, I'd be pissed off if I was, in that team because they got rid of Talage as well. They're doing great, are they? So he wants to do better. And I think if he's at a club that want him and are going for something, I think we probably see the best of him. So yeah, it's probably quite an astute signing, to be honest.
Yeah, I think it's decent. I've got to be honest. Jackie saying here, I'm looking forward to seeing him. Yeah, so am I. So am I. Like I say, with the announcement, I thought, bang, yeah, we can see him straight away. But unfortunately, not to be. But yeah, hopefully we do on Saturday. And then talking on signings that happened yesterday, deadline day signings. So obviously we got in. Wait, 1 second. What's going on with this? Right, there we go. So obviously we've got in Sandal. He is a CDM. He can play higher up as well in terms of midfield. And yeah, I have, like I said yesterday, I have seen highlights of him. Obviously, I know you can't judge everything off highlights, but he looks like he can cross the ball in. He looks like he's very good at getting assists. I mean, 3 goals, 4 assists. I know the league's completely different, but for a team, well, no, not even the team. Sorry, just the player he is, the CDM. Mainly to get 3 goals and 4 assists is pretty decent. It's pretty decent. A lot of people have said, it's probably a player we would have looked at the start of the window, which I totally agree. So it's a bit shame, we haven't managed to get him in earlier because, obviously my only worry with this, and I said it yesterday, nothing against him as a player, but I just feel because the Norwegian season, is done, it's been over. I just don't know if he's going to be in the squad straight away, which we need. Wilshere obviously said on his Friday presser, the players we do bring in, basically they need to be ready, because we need them. The position we find ourselves in, we're behind as it is. So I don't know, man. Like that's the only thing that puts me off. And also the fact, there's another thing actually. I'm lying. There's two. I said it yesterday is obviously the recent Norwegian players we've had. It's not quite worked out. Let's be honest. Like the Asgard one, yes, okay, it worked for what was it, 6 months or whatever. But then he had the Norway manager banging on in his ear saying, "Oh yeah, all this you got to leave, tear," which is the only reason he left. I don't care if people think, "Oh, Rangers are a bigger club." I don't care. Right, that's the only reason he left. Yeah, he didn't show that he was a higher level for me. Ultimately, he showed that he was still the same level as our squad you know. And then obviously the Nordos situation, unfortunately, obviously he got loaned out, didn't get as many opportunities as a lot of us felt. Obviously, this is a permanent. I have heard we've paid 1.1 million for him, which is, I mean, is quite interesting. But there is a good player there. There is a good player there from what I've seen. But I just hope he's raring to go because if he's not, people are going to be disappointed because it's going to be a similar thing with Nordos in terms of, obviously he had a few games until we come in. So that's my only worry. It's nothing against him as a player. From what I've seen, he looks pretty decent. So yeah, your thoughts on this signing, Dad?
Listen, there's a Jack Wilshere signing. He's obviously part of that. I thought the other Nordas had ability. I think he just needed more time. Asgard would definitely had ability. And hopefully we'll keep this guy. Third time lucky. 22 scored 3 goals. That's not too bad for a midfielder.
4 assists as well.
Yeah. A lot of yellow cards though. I've just noticed 9 yellow cards. So obviously he gets stuck in, and that's what we want, isn't it? So I think was it him who had that scored that goal in the highlights, and people saying yeah, but he had loads of time and space, and
it probably would have been
but he definitely gets stuck in, and that's what we need. We haven't seen that. Well, I haven't seen it really for ages, since like Kevin Nichols days and that. He could be that guy. So yeah, let's see. I'm not sure you'll start straight away as it's coming. What is it, pre-season, off-season, whatever.
Yeah.
But he's young, he's fit, so I'm sure we will see him at some point. I think he'll definitely be in the squad, which we quite like really because of the players we got rid of anyway. But he'll be ahead of some other players, I think. I'm looking forward to it. Yeah.
Yeah.
We need to go into the foreign market. There was chat about you're only allowed a certain work permits or something. But I think them players, probably with Makoso, maybe Lamine, I don't know, they've left the club. So, and sometimes you look at teams like Coventry. Over the years, they've signed some really good Jokeres, some really good players from abroad, and other teams have been doing it for a while. And we've done it a few times back in the day. Jean-Louis Valois, French player, brilliant. Berkovic, so yeah, I'm quite pleased. I think some of these European players are better technically, um, and yeah, third time lucky. So let's see.
Yeah, hopefully. And I said it yesterday. Did like some of his comments he made. They were good comments actually. So he said, "Everyone in Norway knows Luton's story, and when I look at my former club, we've had a similar rise to the top division. I understand it's been a tough 2 years, but it seems like we're at the beginning of rebuilding, and it's something I want to be a part of. I've seen that the fans are passionate, and from what I've heard, Luton is a hard-working town, which is something that suits me well. I like to bring the game upfield, play forwards, win my duels, work hard, and help the team. I'm so eager to prove myself here and can't wait to start training." So, yeah, like I say, nothing against him as a player. From what I've seen, he looks pretty decent. And obviously, if we've gone out and paid 1.1 million, you would think he's decent. For a team, with all due respect, they're not really known. I mean, I don't know if any of you guys have actually, seen the stadium. I think there's only like one proper bit where like people like usually sit. It's quite open, is what I'm trying to say. So clearly we see something, but I just hope he's at least available to be in the squad, not start. Like I say, no, I don't expect that, but hopefully he can just be in the squad like as soon as, because like I say, it goes back to what Wilshere said the other day. Wants players that are ready, ready to play, and we're not going to have to sort of build them up to match fitness and all that stuff. So yeah, that's what I will say about it. And then obviously the other signing we did make was Davy van den Berg. Now obviously again the links come out like earlier yesterday on it. Now he has played in the Europa League. Yeah, he has recently come back from injury. Obviously, he played against Celtic recently. I think he only played like 5 minutes, but he's more of an attacking one, midfielder. So for me, the way I look at this, right, I think Sandal's more of a Nakamba replacement, and then Davies more of a Lamine, because obviously we were playing Lamine higher. He's very good left-footed player, apparently. Very good with his left foot. Obviously, he's on loan with interesting wording. It said conditional obligation to buy, which is quite interesting.
Mm.
But yeah, Wilshere said he's very good with his left foot. He obviously is more of an attacking midfielder. He can play on the left as well. So again, he could maybe be another option. If you ask me out of the two, who do I expect to be involved first? I'll probably say Davey, given that he's just come back, and he did literally play the other day for the team he was at. And yeah, I mean, he brings that more attacking element to his game. So, Europa League experience, like I said yesterday, that should be good for League One. So it's one of them where it's probably more likely, depending on how he does, we might not see him. In comparison to obviously Sandal, we've signed him permanently. So let's see what happens. But yeah, I mean, this one's interesting. Could you argue that it's maybe Wilshere's contacts this type of one, given he's played in Europa
Possibly,
League?
possibly. I mean, he's a little bit older. He's been injured a little bit, um, but he's obviously got a lot of respect. Scores, you know, from midfield, which is what we need as well. 4 or 5 goals a season. And yeah, we say like League One, they ain't played in League One, but I'm sure that some of the football in their second division or whatever they're playing in ain't too dissimilar. Do you know what I mean? In a lot of ways. So yeah, it'll probably come straight in, I reckon. So yeah, it's interesting. I mean, sometimes we went in for Jack Diamond, 750 rejected, went in for 1 million, but then it's too late. I mean, he's an half decent player. There's a couple of Scottish midfielders we were apparently looking at as well. Um, we went elsewhere, Leighton Orient and Stockport,
Blackpool.
Blackpool. Um, so some people are saying, does that mean that these were our, third, fourth choice options? But it's a big list. They've all got similar ability. Obviously there's some that you probably think will gel better at your club because they're already playing in this league, etc., this country. But no, I'm happy with them. I think it's Wilshire's first batch of signings. Let's look forward to the summer. But yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing them start.
Yeah, like I say, I expect Davey to come in straight away. Like I say, given that he's played recently, obviously he's just come back, but he has been playing. He has been playing. Unlike Sandal, I'm not too sure about him, to be honest. Like if he's going to play, straight away or even be in the squad. But obviously, I don't expect him to start. But
Because
like I say,
also, I'll touch on this. Apparently, who was it who said it? A couple, both managers really. Like Nordas weren't. I thought he weren't too bad, but he's not ready for English football. So surely, on that basis, you're going to make sure these pair
those are, yeah.
are, yeah.
Yeah. No, I agree. I agree.
And also, I'd go with the same with Makoso. Slightly, he was a bit better. Do you know what I mean? You could see with them, it was a bit on and off. The both of these to prove that when you're going abroad and you look at these page, don't make the same mistakes. So yeah, you're right. They need to hit the ground running. Really,
Yeah.
we've done it a lot. Hashioka, terrible signing. The more you think about it, the more deep it is.
And by the way, I think he's already left Slavia Prague. I saw rumours yesterday he was going to leave. Let me double check if he has.
Yeah.
He might have stayed, but there was rumours they were looking to get rid of him anyway, because I saw it yesterday. So yeah, that was poor signing overall. I mean, again, it was another one of them, and we hope it's not the same here, where we're looking at the highlights. He looked good, didn't he? He scored a banging goal once, but yeah, ultimately he just didn't really do enough. But yeah, I mean, overall, in terms of the window, obviously it was inevitable we weren't going to get right back as soon as he said them comments about Jones. But yeah, maybe I felt maybe we should have just got another option as a centre back, just due to Makosa obviously going out, and I do worry if we get injuries at the back. And yeah, obviously we couldn't get rid of Holmes because or loan him out because he's already been at an English club, and if you've done that, you can't go back to an English club, so it'd have been abroad. What's that?
He's still got Baptiste as well.
Yeah, he's still injured. Yeah, it's just and the Baptiste one's a bit difficult because I know his contract's till next year as well. So
he'll be gone. He'll be gone in the summer, unfortunately.
Oh yeah, hopefully. And again, nothing against him, but just his injuries. And again, he'll be one of the higher wage earners now because obviously got him from the Premier League. So yeah, that's a bit disappointing. But anything else that you want to say before we wrap up?
No, I'm looking forward to it. We've got two very tough games. Bradford at home, they're right up there. They beat us. We've got to be right on point. Luckily, we're decent at home, but they're a better team than Blackpool. I think they made a couple of decent signings as well. And then Cardiff away. I'm sorry, but I can't see us getting anything out of that. They're really good at home. They just seem to know how to win. And our away form is just terrible. I think they'll put it on us. They really will. So, yeah. And then I think Port Vale after that, possibly. And
yeah, I think it might be. Oh, actually, no. I think it is a team that are.
Or is it
Burton? Yeah, it might even be Burton.
We're going to that, yeah. And then Port Vale, I think.
Right, so we've got Bradford, Cardiff, Wigan away, which is a midweek. I looked at that earlier, actually. It's a Wednesday night. Then we've got Burton, like you say, Dad. Yeah, because I knew that period we've got teams that are currently down there. So I'm not looking at Wigan. I'm on about Burton. Obviously, they're currently in the relegation zone. They're playing tonight, actually, right now. Then we got Doncaster, which is obviously the rescheduled game, which is, I think it's a Tuesday night. Either way, it's a midweek. And then it's Port Vale. They're all massive games. People look at them and say, 9 points. I wouldn't be
next two,
one of them games.
Minimum of 2 points. Sounds terrible, but Bradford and Cardiff.
See, the home games I'm more confident, but I've got to be honest, right? People look at a position and go, "Oh, we should be all right." But like Doncaster away, I mean, that ain't going to be easy. That's our rescheduled game as well. Yeah, they lost their last game, but you look at their last game at home, they won 3-0.
And they've got Elliot Lee as well.
Yeah.
And then Port Vale got Andre Gray.
Yeah. Like I said to you yesterday, what's the odds he score against us? Probably celebrate again this time. It probably flipping count. But yeah, but thankfully that won't be at the home game. Because imagine we went to that, Dad. Imagine if he was playing for him then. Oh, it'd been so frustrating. So yeah, but again, lots. I'm confident when we're at home. It's just these away games, like the Cardiff game is such a difficult one because, like, obviously you don't expect us to win it, but then we sort of need points. But then it's like you can sort of, I don't like
Well,
saying this,
again,
but you
like,
sort of take that as a free hit in a way.
yeah, if we did beat them, that'd give us a lot of confidence. I'll
Yeah,
tell you that.
yeah. That would definitely be like a statement that we can still at least get in the playoffs. Yeah, at least. Obviously, like I said yesterday, I'm not looking higher up. I just think Cardiff and Lincoln, they're Lincoln, I don't think they've been great in their recent games, like when they played us and Burton, but they're getting the results. They're still getting a draw away at our place, which is difficult. Let's be honest, we've improved at home. And then they obviously beat Burton. Yeah, there was a bit of controversy, but they grinded out the win. Do you know what I mean? And that's what them teams do. That's what them teams do, even when they're not playing well. I mean, you look at even the season we went up, and we played well in a lot of games, don't get me wrong. But some games we didn't play as well, and we'd win narrowly. And it's like, that's what the good teams do. So, yeah, talking of games, Barnsley have conceded in the 3rd minute to Northampton. Obviously, there was rumours yesterday, wasn't there, of us maybe looking to get a striker in. Obviously, there was bids rejected, but I think they lost one of their bigger players as well.
Keeler's done.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah. So they could have lost. Imagine that. They lost both. So, yeah, I'm sure it's not too great for them at the moment. But, yeah, anything else, Dad? Anything else? Or is that everything? That is everything. Okay, cool. So we'll be back again on Friday to talk about the Bradford game. And we should be doing a watch-along on Saturday to the game. Obviously, 12:31 kickoff, guys. Don't forget, a minute later. So, yeah, that's that. So we're doing a watch on to that. Obviously, it'll be a match reaction from myself. I'm going to see during the week if David is going to the game. Because if he is, then obviously I'll ask if he can do a fan cam with Mike. And shout out to everyone that subscribed and watched the Mike fan cam. Done really well. So big up to everyone. And it was a bit of a longer one, but no, it was good to talk to Mike and it was good to see him again. So thank you again for him for doing that. And yeah, like I say, smash a like on here if you haven't already. Do subscribe. And yeah, do subscribe to the Extra channel. Follow me across all my socials. And yeah, we'll be back again on Friday. So yeah, until then, take care and peace. Come on, Luton.